Welcome back to ACTV. Today we are going to be adding chocolate spheres or baubles to a cake. There's a ton of information out there about how to make the chocolate baubles. It's just like making hot cocoa bombs, except there's no hot cocoa inside. So I have a couple different ones here, different sizes, different colors to go along with this Halloween cake that we have. So I've got white, black, and then also silver. And I think there's a couple different ways that you can adhere them to the cake. There's also a spray that's out there that you could use. I just prefer traditional candy melts that harden very quickly, and it doesn't take very long to hold things in place and get them to stick. So I usually will start with my largest one on top, kind of like placing roses or flowers on a cake. You usually start with your statement piece. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of melted candy melts and I'm going to place it on the top of the cake. I'm gonna go here. Generally, I tried to hide the seam of where I put my two pieces of the mold together, but I'm probably going to add some things around this so it's not too big of a deal. And we just have a buttercream cake here. These are definitely easier to add if you're using a fondant cake, but majority of the time I make buttercream cakes, so we've figured out a way to adhere these so they don't move. So my next one, I want to go in front here. I'm gonna put a little chocolate underneath as well as on the back to adhere to both the cake and to the other bauble that's in place. A little there and then a little in the back. And you don't really have to like sit here and hold it in place. It'll pretty much stay if you've got a very chilled cake. And so you can see in the back, that's where I've adhered them together. If you wanted to go back and clean that up a little bit, you could. Just wiping some of the excess away. You don't need to though. I mean, no one's really gonna see that. Okay, so I'm going to stack this silver one on top here. Find its place first and then add a little bit. So this one I'm gonna hold for a few seconds. So I actually love adding these onto a cake. It creates more dimension and it just is a nice touch aside from flowers. I think my favorite is to do a cake that's got flowers, macarons, and the chocolate baubles. It's just got a little bit of everything on there. And much like any other edible decoration, you can totally dress it up to whatever color palette and celebration theme you have going. So obviously we've got this Halloween gray cake, and we have silver, white, black baubles. Totally goes with this. And you can do that for any kind of cake you're making. So that looks pretty set. I'm gonna go and add a little bit of bauble down here before I start adding more on top so I can see where I'm at. So I'm gonna do a large silver one at the base. So I'm gonna add some chocolate to the board, add a little bit to the sphere, and then attach. Anytime you have metallic stuff that you're working with, you can always go back later and touch up if you left fingerprints. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of the silver paste here. Okay. And I'm gonna switch gloves now that I've used the silver and got it all over so I don't carry on to the next color. So I think we could use another one here to start. And it's kind of sitting against two of the other ones. So now that I have it in place, I'm gonna just pull back a little and add chocolate there. little chocolate there too. I'm curious if any of you have made your own babbles or if you filled them with hot cocoa like you would for a hot cocoa bomb and then put them on a cake. Because now that I'm thinking about it, I think that's a great idea if you were doing a Christmas cake with chocolate babbles or hot cocoa bombs and put it onto a cake. So instead of removing the decoration and throwing it out, they could actually use it for a hot cocoa bomb. So I also have one piece here that's hollow, just an extra piece that doesn't have a second part to it, but I wanted to just lay this on the cake and then add one on top. So this one I'm just gonna put right there. Okay, and then we'll add our final one back here to give it that last little bit of height. So I'm gonna add a little brush stroke here of my silver paint onto this babble here. Yep, so if you can see here, there was a little bit of extra chocolate that I really couldn't scrape off at this point. So just going to cover that up by adding a little bit of a brush stroke. And I'll do that here to match. I think we'll do one down here. Okay, and that's it. That was pretty easy. It didn't take very long, and we just used the same candy melts that we used to make the babbles to glue them on. And they're pretty secure. I have traveled with a 2-tier cake that had babbles at the top, in between the tiers, and at the base. No problem. As long as your cake is chilled, you should be good to go. If you have any questions, please let us know, and don't forget to like and subscribe.